Hey, welcome to Life Extension Live. Great to see everybody joining us. I'm Dr. Mike, your host, and I am with.
Dr. Crystal.
Hey, Dr. Crystal, great to see you.
Yes.
So delicious or dangerous? Because
Ooh.
some of the foods, you picked that title. I
I
was you.
did. I
You
know.
did. I liked it. Could some of the foods that we're eating be causing some symptoms for us? And I want to set today's live up a little bit. Going back to my past experience as a clinician, and Dr. Crystal, we talked about this, so I know you understand everything I'm about to say,
Mhm.
but so for years and years and years, many people have been coming into their general practitioners, their doctors' offices, um, just kind of like complaining about what we call vague symptoms. Headaches, stomach aches, fatigue, weakness, and not. And I say vague symptoms, not that the symptoms are real. People are really experiencing this, and we understand that. But from a clinical standpoint, sometimes it's hard because those symptoms could be so many things. Now, a lot of people end up getting good tests like thyroid testing. Maybe some people go through some questionnaires for depression, what have you. But at the end of the day, people, many people with these symptoms, these mystery symptoms, what we call them, really don't have a diagnosis. Like their thyroid was fine. They're not depressed. So we don't really know what to do. And I think this is where conventional medicine kind of drops off a little bit and fails a little bit here, because we have millions of Americans walking around with some symptoms that we don't have answers for. As a matter of fact, Dr. Crystal, you gave me a stat here, right? I'm going to read this. I
Yes,
should have got my glasses.
I did. I can tell you the stat if you'd like.
No, I'm going to do this. I'm going to read this. This is important to
Okay.
me. No, just kidding. 45 to 60% of the general population struggles with these mystery type symptoms that cannot be easily diagnosed. So that means we're talking about millions and millions and millions of Americans walking around out there with daily symptoms from brain fog, headache, sleep issues, fatigue, whatever that is. And oh well, like we don't have any answers. So here's what I want you to do. Do
All
you,
right.
Dr. Crystal, have a little bit of an explanation of why we're having these symptoms, and the big tests that we do in conventional medicine are saying everything is fine?
Yes, and it's surprising when you think about the saying. We all say you are what you eat, right? But no one really stops to think about, is it something that I'm eating?
Yeah, yeah,
It's for
yeah.
me as a doctor of clinical nutrition, it's a no-brainer. I look to the diet first, and I do believe that, and research is showing some of these mystery symptoms could be linked back to what we call delayed food allergies, food sensitivities, and there's a little debate in the medical community because they say, well, these aren't true allergies, and I would have to agree. It's the type of antibodies that are produced in the body are not the immediate produced antibodies like the IgE, that is the type of antibody that's involved with needing an EpiPen. Those are
Not
the
not not the
true.
dead, not the deadly ones, right? Where a bee sting or something, right? Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. But what we're looking at is a type of antibody, IgG, and it's a slow, it slowly builds up in the body, and it builds up in response to foods that we eat. Well, and let me just break that down, because it's proteins in the foods that we eat.
Yeah.
And they're I'm happy to kind of go into a little more details on some of the underlying causes or what we think is causing the body to react to some of those. But, just a general overview to kind of get us started
Yeah.
with the topic.
Well, yeah. And so, okay. So let me summarize. Your immune system is there to fight against things that are foreign and shouldn't be in your body, right? That's what the immune system does.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure if I am what I eat, I'm a block of cheese. Because Chris, come on now.
What kind of cheese, Dr. Mike? What kind of cheese?
All of it. Oh, I don't know. I'm a blend of stinky and hard sauce. It doesn't matter. I'm a mosaic of cheeses. But at the end of the day, like, my body knows I'm actually not cheese. Right. And so yes, I'm putting a lot of that in my mouth all the time into my system. The immune system, I guess, just starts reacting to that. That's not Mike. And the immune system reacts to that. And maybe, just maybe, that's where some of these mystery symptoms come from.
Yes. And I think it gets maybe a little more complex than that, because when food is presented to the body, it is presented in, like, if you're going to eat protein, the body digests that protein. Your digestive enzymes breaks down that protein into amino acids. Those are the building blocks of your protein. And you may get like a few smaller chains of amino acids, or maybe a couple of amino acids joined together. But the body typically does not receive full proteins. It recognizes the amino acids. So yes, whenever the body, if you're not properly digesting your food, then it's likely that some of those proteins, or maybe you have some mild intestinal permeability, maybe some of those larger proteins are getting into the bloodstream. And that's what's causing the body to say, whoa, I'm not used to eating cheese like this now.
That makes sense. So when we don't digest properly, we're allowing more stuff to come in, larger molecules to come in, and that's what the immune system is responding to. And just maybe, we don't know this for all people, but just maybe that's a cause of some of these mystery symptoms.
Yes. And so really, when you look at one of the possible solutions, is gut healing. What types of foods are you putting in your body that could be destroying your beneficial bacteria, your beneficial flora, and what do you need to replenish? What do you need to replace, so that you can kind of heal the gut, so that you don't have those larger food proteins entering into the bloodstream? Because when that happens, yes, the immune system is going to kind of go into this overdrive, and then eventually it starts getting misguided, and it starts recognizing tissue self as something foreign. So we do see these food sensitivities eventually potentially linking to autoimmune diseases.
But let's go back to the idea of, like, more stuff getting from my gut into my bloodstream, because that's kind of what it is, right? That's where the immune system reacts for the most part. And this goes back to this idea of leaky gut, right? And I know this is controversial, whatever, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, leaky gut and lack of diversity in the diet could be linked here, right? Tell us about that. Like, what's this leaky gut, and how does that relate to lack of diversity, and what does that mean for mystery symptoms?
Yeah, so the leaky gut is, kind of what I was describing with the intestinal permeability, but it's basically where in the small intestines, that is where food is absorbed. And, you have these villi and these microvilli, which are these kind of, I kind of think of them as some type of sea plant that's kind of in the small intestines. Oh, there
Right.
they are. Yes.
That's
So
right.
they're in the small intestines, and that's what we have here in this picture. And those villi kind of control what's getting in to the
Okay, wait,
body.
wait. Robson, can you bring it back to us for a sec? Okay, I have a visual here. So you think of these villi, you said as sea plants or something like. So basically, these villi are like doing this.
Yes,
Like
yes.
the seaweed in the ocean is like this, and so these
And
villi
then
in
there's
our
the food
stomachs are
coming
like
in.
this. All
I'm
right,
a visual
it
person.
works. It works. I like it. All right, go
Yes.
back to that picture, Robson. Thanks. Oh, by the way, Robson, as you guys know, is our producer. He does all the background work and all the slides. So let's go back to that picture and let's talk a little bit more about this leaky gut progression.
Yes. And so what you're seeing, it progresses whenever you have GI inflammation, when you have a lack of diversity, when you have, some of the more pathogenic bacteria, they start like creating these polysaccharides that can destroy these entry points where your food is supposed to be digested, kind of that barrier system. So what you're seeing on the screen to the right, that is a depiction of leaky gut. You're seeing toxins getting in, you're seeing undigested food particles, those are the green circles getting in, you're seeing pathogens that are also entering into the bloodstream, which they really aren't supposed to be
Yeah.
entering into the bloodstream. We have a natural barrier. Those tight junctions is what we call it, that really helps to allow only what is supposed to enter into the bloodstream enter into the bloodstream. So what you're seeing is when they're in there, now the immune system revs up, and here it's showing that it could lead possibly to autoimmunity.
Yeah. But if we okay, so but take a step back from the autoimmunity,
Hmm.
and before that was immune system issues, basically the immune system activating, right? And
Yes.
so you may not have autoimmune issues, but you could simply have an immune system that's reacting to food particles and other things
Hmm.
you put in your gut that we don't want your immune system to react to. And that can be part of the symptoms, these mystery symptoms that we're talking about. Because Dr. Crystal, if you think about it, if the immune system's being activated, we get feverish, we get achy, we just don't feel good all the time. We get headaches,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
Stomach aches. Our muscles just don't feel, that God, I just can't get, that's
Hmm.
all immune system activation. And that's a lot of the mystery symptoms.
Yes, because it's the immune system activation, and now there's excess inflammation in the body,
And
and
that's the
that's
and
where
that's the key thing, right?
yes.
Yes.
And
It's the
so that's where those mystery symptoms. And one thing I want to point out, because you mentioned lack of diversity also being involved with this. And
yeah, yeah. Bring that in too, right? Leaky gut and lack of diversity. How is that? Why are we talking about lack of diversity?
well, we can say lack of diversity in two instances. One, lack of microbial diversity in the GI. So we just have dysbiosis, and then also lack of diversity in the body, because for some people the symptoms are mystery symptoms because you may not feel it right away.
Okay.
These are the slow reacting. So this is something that happens over time, and sometimes it's due to us eating the same foods every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
When we there's so many foods in a grocery store, and I challenge all of you. Every once in a while I'll go grocery shopping and I'm in the produce section. I'm like, what's a fruit or vegetable that I haven't eaten or that I've never even
Never
tried?
had. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that I've never had, because we often just go to our staples.
Yeah.
And most people eat the same, 20 or so foods, and that's it.
Yeah.
And
Well, you have a stat here. You have a stat, right? There are more than 50,000 edible plants in the world.
Mm-hmm.
50,000, but just 15 of them make up 90% of the world's food intake.
Yes.
That's yeah, rice, corn, wheat. That's probably the top three, right? Rice, corn, wheat, right? Yeah.
Those are the
So
top three.
that's pretty true, right? So we have leaky gut issues where we get stuck in the rut. I'm going to have my rice. I'm going to have my corn. It's true. And so some of this may be the reason we're feeling the immune system activation, which are then possibly these mystery symptoms. So let's talk now about if that's the case. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
you're watching this and you're somebody who's like, oh, I have headaches all the time, but no one knows why. Or I have upset stomach all the time. No one knows why. I'm fatigued all the time. No one knows why. Just maybe it could be the food you're eating. So, Dr. Crystal, let's talk about first testing. Like, how would we test this then, right?
Well, I'll
Like,
just tell you a
what do we
personal
do?
story. I'll tell you a personal story, and it relates to my son. So we are having, I guess we could call it mystery symptoms. We cannot figure out what's causing him to have skin issues. He is having dry skin. He has
Oh,
eczema spots. Yeah, my poor baby.
yeah.
Eczema
And tell,
spots.
tell everybody his name. Make sure not every
Roland. Roland's gonna be a
Rolling.
star because I think we do have some pictures to show. But I decided, oh, there's
Rolling. There's
Roland with
Rolling.
Kaylin's shadows in the background. I
I
have
could
to say
see
hi
that.
to my
Yeah,
daughter.
the daughter's watching everything.
Yes, she is, and directing.
Yes.
So we decided that we were going to test him for food allergies. So that's him. He was holding up
Aw.
the test, and so it's a test where you can just order it.
He looks a little not sure right there. So
He
tell
was
us
not
what's up.
sure. He told me at that point, he just said, I'm a little bit not happy. And then we said, you're being so brave. And he said, I think I'm happy again.
But so tell us in that picture, because I know what you're doing, but maybe the audience doesn't know what's going on right there.
Yeah, so it's an at-home test, the food safe allergy test that we're doing for Roland, and we just pricked his finger with a little needle or little pin, and now we are filling up 5 circles with 5. Well, it's more than 5 drops of blood, but there are 5 circles, little circles that you need to fill with your sample. There's my
There it is.
sample
There it is.
completely
Yeah.
filled.
Yeah.
He was so brave, Dr. Mike. I have to tell you, we only pricked him one time, and I could not believe how much was coming out.
He's young, man. That blood is flowing. What are you talking about?
Wow, I couldn't believe
that's the
it.
blood flow of youth.
I know. So yes, and so we sent that off. We haven't received our results, but maybe that can be another live where we can look at his results.
Oh,
I'll have to get his permission, of course, but we can look at his results and go over his results with everyone.
Robson, can you go back to that last image with the card there in the blood spot? So I got to tell you something, Dr. Crystal. You are meticulous and awesome at that. So I actually did this too. When she already knows where I'm going with it. When Life Extension first came out with this test, we wanted to like demo it with somebody actually showing how you prick the finger and how you dip the blood. And so I was the volunteer. I told you that, right, Doctor?
I think we were in the same department at that time,
Yeah,
and maybe I just joined in.
I was the volunteer to get pricked, and it was a mess. It was a bloody mess. But the point I'm making, if you do it and take your time, it could be. And you saw that card. That was like perfect. Yeah.
Well, I'm a little.
I wasn't as good as
OCD.
Roland. I was not happy. I had blood all over the table. It was just a mess.
Look, and let me just tell all of you that will not be your experience. Dr. Mike, I don't know what was going, and from a medical doctor, everyone, listen to the medical doctor.
Well, the guy who was doing my fingerprint, good friend of ours, John Finch from years ago, he was like stabbing me. That was the problem. You don't do that.
No, it's really quite easy and
Yeah.
very simple. Only took, I mean, it took under 5 minutes, and we let it dry overnight and sent it off in the
Yeah.
mail, and we will have our results back.
Yeah. It's very simple, very nice test. And so let's talk about then what those results look like. So when you say results come back, what's coming back? Tell us what that looks like.
Yeah, so the test that I did, we are testing 95 foods, and the results will tell you foods where the amount of those IgG antibodies were high, and those foods will be listed out. Thank you, Robson, for the sample report. In red, those are foods that you would need to avoid. And then you will have foods in orangish yellow. Those are foods where you reacted to moderately. Those are foods that, if they're okay to eat, but you may want to just eat them maybe every 4 days. Don't eat them every day.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you have the foods in green, and it will be broken down as the results here. We're seeing dairy, we're seeing fish. There's a section for meat, there's a section for vegetables, and it just kind of gives you an outline. And what is also nice, I like this because it kind of gives you a little meal plan too. So it helps you to kind of plan out the foods, because what is important, as we mentioned, Dr. Mike, is the diversity, not eating the same foods every day. So it kind of gives you a 4-week rotation diet. Right. And you can see the foods that are in green, we're still rotating them, but those are foods, they're good to go. And then the foods in orange, those would be the foods where, if I ate lamb on day 1 as my protein, I probably wouldn't have lamb again until maybe day 5. And so it helps you to, not eat chicken every day.
Right. Yeah, that's the point, right? It's the diversity in the diet,
Mm-hmm.
but it also helps to identify which foods might be causing symptoms too, right? Even on the red side where you have high IgG, you want to avoid those foods, but that doesn't mean every single one of those foods, if you were to eat it, are the ones causing the headache or the fatigue. And so what this allows you to do is to start, after you follow this kind of diet plan for a while, you can even reintroduce a red one, right?
Yes,
and just see. Don't introduce a bunch of reds, one red at a time. But if you introduce, I think on that, the cottage cheese on that one sample we saw was red. So maybe 6-7 days later, add some cottage cheese, see how you feel.
Yeah, and I would encourage you, maybe wait a little bit longer.
Is there an
I know,
official?
look, Dr. Mike, you're trying to sneak in the cheese early. No, Dr. Mike.
No, I'm thinking 3 or 4 days later, I can have the cheddar cheese again. I think it's fun.
Okay. Yes, you're right. So the foods in red, you do want to avoid them for about like 2 to 4 weeks completely. And so Dr. Mike is talking about reintroducing the cottage cheese. You would introduce
you're right.
it.
Okay, let me restate this. You follow this diet. 2 weeks later, you add the cheddar cheese in if that was red. And 4 weeks later, when it 4 weeks,
Yes,
4 weeks.
Okay.
4 weeks later, you add the cheddar cheese, and maybe everything's fine now. And then you can rotate that in.
Yes,
spreading it out over the elimination diet plan.
And Dr. Mike, just for you, you can add it in 2 weeks. Your cheddar cheese.
I might even do it in about 2 days. Worst patient ever. But so that's our elimination diet. So you get the test, you know which foods could be causing the problem. The whole point, spread those out, reintroduce ones that are red way later, just to make sure one at a time. One at a time is important too. You don't want to reintroduce a bunch of reds, because now what if you get symptoms? You don't know which one it was. So one at a time. Now you mentioned you also like to support gut health.
Yes.
So what are some of the things we can do dietary, supplement wise to support
Hmm.
that?
Well, I love to start with probiotics. That helps to kind of introduce some different strain species into the gut, helps to kind of increase some diversity. And then I start looking at nutrients that's involved with healing the gut. Glutamine is one of my
Yeah,
favorite
very good.
nutrients
Yep.
for healing the gut, really helping to heal those my plants, my
What,
sea plants.
the sea plants that are actually in your stomach and they're not in the sea, but whatever, we'll go with that. But I know what you're
Well,
saying. The little villi, they move like this. They yeah, so
yes. Also, omega 3s, since we know what we're dealing with is a heightened inflammatory state, looking at nutrients that will help to ease inflammation. So, omega 3s, one that we talked about on Live Forever ish is black cumin.
black cumin seed oil. Yes, love that.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So
By the
that
way,
wasn't on my original list, but
by the
I
way,
just thought of it.
live forever-ish. That's our podcast, right? Go check that out at liveforeverish.com and subscribe. We post stuff every Monday. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Nice. So glutamine,
Yes.
omega-3, probiotics, and there could be others for you, right? Maybe you need some digestive enzymes, what have you. But those are 3 good suggestions for taking care of your gut. So mystery symptoms. Are you somebody who maybe has been dealing with headaches off and on for many, many years? Maybe you feel bloated all the time for many, many years. Maybe, your skin just gets rashy or something. You just feel achy for many, many years, maybe fatigued. And you've been through test after test after test, and the doctors keep telling you everything's fine. Here's an antidepressant. Take that. Maybe that'll help, which often happens, right? For
Yes.
those 40 to 60% of Americans that suffer daily from these mystery symptoms. Here's the thing. Maybe, just maybe, it's your immune system responding to foods that you need to either eliminate from your diet or rotate in a way, adding diversity to your diet where the immune system calms down. Just maybe that could be your answer. So what do, Dr. Crystal? Get tested.
That's right.
Roland is the expert at testing now.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he did a great job. Get those results. Follow the elimination diet. Add in a red here and there. 2 weeks, not 4. No, I'm sorry, doctor. It's 4 weeks. It's 4 weeks after, and see how that works. But then also try healing the gut with glutamine, omega-3, probiotics. Did I miss anything, Dr. Crystal?
Black cumin.
Oh yeah, we did that. That's the Live Forever-ish black cumin seed oil. Hey, that's actually really good for reducing inflammation across the board. Go check that out. We just has that posted yet? Is that going to post soon?
That will post on Monday.
Monday. So this coming Monday is a great podcast on black cumin and its ability to reduce inflammation, which could be important for helping your gut if you experience some of these mystery symptoms. Dr. Crystal.
Yes.
Thank you. Great
job. Thank you, Dr. Mike.
Yeah. This was fun and an important topic, I think, for a lot of people. I mean, at that stat, 40 to 60% walking around with symptoms that have no diagnosis. I mean, that's millions and millions and millions of people.
Yes, and those people may, you may feel defeated. You may feel like, this is my lot. I have to feel this way, and you don't.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, if you want to check out that test, lifeextension.com/food test. And you can check that out, read about it. I would highly recommend doing it. Very simple, at home, awesome results. lifeextension.com/food test. Dr. Crystal, thank you for joining me today. Everyone, I'm Dr. Mike. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Take care.